Welcome to the second episode of my YouTube channel about the end of capitalism. Today I'm going to talk about an incredible political scandal. The German government has declared me to an unwanted, unwelcome person because of my work of the last 20 years as an artist and researcher. Because I discovered tremendous problems within the economic capitalism theory, and this does mean that huge rethinking would be necessary, but obviously some people do not want that. So I want to show this as an example to demonstrate how the government calculates the value of humans and how the German government in the area of migration does declare humans to third-class citizens. So let's take a closer look at this. The capitalistic theory is too primitive for a complex world. This could change everything. As we know, we're having the Brexit at the moment, which follows to the problem that me as a British citizen living since 23 years in Germany have the problem that my allowance to stay in Germany is not safe anymore. So what I tried is to get a German passport and to become a German citizen, as a dual passportship. Now, the following happens. I am 46 years old. Since 23 to 24 years, I have been living in Germany. I have invested around €1 million in the form of unpaid work as an artist and researcher, as engagement in society. If I sort of use an average income to calculate this, then more or less €1 million. And this may shock some people, but I worked basically in my life last 20 years for more or less €4 the hour. This is shocking, and but if people who are working in research or in the artistic area, this is quite often what you get. So this is the balance sheet of my life, and for the German government, the end of this calculation, the sum coming out of that is minus €1 million. That's the way the German government sees it. Now, I'm making it a bit simplified, but basically that's the way they see it. So everything I've done in my life, in the calculation of the migration officials, the question, am I worthy to be reintegrated into German society? The answer is that sort of I have earned sort of this minus 1 million is sort of the money I have not earned. I have not earned it because I have invested that time of my life in solving social problems as a human rights activist or artist. So, as an activist, as an artist and researcher, my entire income is highly volatile, of course. So, for the German government, I am basically a burden for the taxpayer. The government says it is my fault. This is my fault because if I weren't a human rights activist, then I wouldn't be a burden to society. This is the logic of the German government. This means I'm an unworthy person. I am sort of ein Untermensch, ein minderwertiger Mensch. that's what comes out of the calculation of the migration officials in Germany. So it's a only capitalistic calculation. So the other crazy thing is that because of Brexit, I am not allowed to vote in Britain, where I was born, because when you're longer outside the country than 15 years, you're not allowed to vote. In Austria, where I grew up, I am not allowed to vote. In Germany, where I've been living for nearly a quarter century, I am not allowed to vote. Also, I'm not allowed to vote in Europe. So the governments in Germany and Britain have stripped me of basic human rights and democratic principles. So now what happens is the cognitive dissonance in the reaction of the government. And this means that both ministers, Heiko Maas, the German foreign minister, as highest officials around Horst Seehofer, the interior minister of Germany, they both see the moral conflict, which is that sort of I, as a human being, have worked my entire life and have done incredible things unpaid and for paid very little. And on the other hand, there's this minus, and they see the discrepancy here. And instead, or better said, because, or if they would want to declare that I should get a German passport and I should be integrated into German society, then they would have to raise the value of this. You have to say, Mr. Speed has done a lot for the common good. He's done a lot for society as an artist, as a researcher. So we have to relativate the only capitalistic calculation, because if he has on the minus side earned not enough money, then because he has invested years and years of his life in solving social problems. So both ministers of the German government, if they would rise the value of what I've done in all my life, then they would say that the capitalism is wrong, that the capitalism is not enough, it does not say enough about the human. So, but that means that the entire migration law would be gone. Because nobody could be valued out of this inhuman calculation anymore. One government would have to see that all humans, migrants, and people coming from all over the world to Germany, that they all are valuable humans, and that we cannot sort of deselect humans and declare some to more important and others to be nothing. So for the government, this problem does seem unsolvable. So now what happens is I criticize the government because of this inhuman calculation, and the pressure on those two ministers rises and rises. And the interesting thing is, what happens now is that this side tries to find more minus. So they don't go along and say, well, this is a plus, we need humans, human rights activists and people that risk their life for others. We're gonna put this integrated into calculation, but they don't do that. No, instead of that, they try to criminalize me because I have worked against the capitalistic aim to sort of to make high profits. And so not living for the profits is sort of a criminal, is made to be a criminal act, an act against society, a reason to chuck me out of the country. So this leads to the problem that in the Interior Ministerium in Brandenburg, high officials openly threatened me in letter and said, if I keep criticizing the government as an artist and researcher, and if I keep criticizing their calculation, then I will not get a German passport anyway. So the government has tried everything just not to see the true problem in this calculation. So right up to the high government level, they all know exactly what's going on. They all know that I have what I have done in my life. And instead of getting really upset about this, they declare that it's not their business. So we have a government declaring it's not their business if artists are threatened by extreme right-wing officials that are doing nothing else anymore but trying to destroy me by using mobbing and only adding one minus to the next. So this even went so far that the officials even wrote in letters that my entire work has no common good at all. It's not for anything. I've wasted my entire life as an artist and researcher. And later on, I published a book, Radical Worker, in which all this absurdity is published, with all these crazy things these people have been saying, and the reaction is to add more and more negative on the other side of the calculation. So it's all totally fraud. They are sort of declaring humans for unworthy based on an idiotic calculation. And so officially now German government has declared me to an unwelcome person and is doing everything to get rid of me after I've been living here for nearly 25 years. My whole life tried to help other people and to solve social and political and society problems. Kann man ein Buch lesen, Radical Worker vom Recht auf selbstbestimmte Arbeit, darin eben der Versuch, die Arbeit